Back on the Real News Radio with Farron and Brian. Liberty News Radio Network, libertynewsradio.com, and we got a lot of information we want to cover today. We will be taking your phone calls in the second hour, so let's get started, Brian.
The two-party system has failed America. This is by Sean Connors, Infowars.com. While America's wealthy continue to enjoy economic and recreational comforts, many parts of the world are being plunged into economic collapse, depression, and civil unrest. American elitist politicians enjoy the safety and protection provided by our military and Secret Service. Meanwhile, the American citizens' freedoms are attacked non-stop by police state agencies in their homes, schools, and neighborhoods. The writing has been on the wall for some time. Nothing has changed, and the plan for the New World Order is in full force. In America, the two-party system has failed the people. The politicians fiend fighting in front of cameras while they sleep together at night. Bush Sr., Clinton, Bush Jr., and now Obama have expressly followed elitist world power orders. Nothing has changed, and the class assault on America's values, morals, and freedoms continues. George W. Bush, widely considered one of the worst presidents in U.S. history, initiated legislation that stripped Americans of every right they had once had. This includes the Patriot Acts 1 and 2, FISA Amendments Act of 2008, the Violent Radicalization and Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act, Economic Stabilization Act of 2008, amended presidential executive orders, and the Revocation of Comitatus Act. These actions were specifically designed for domestic control under the illusion and disguise that they help you. These are only a few of the many fascist laws the Bush administration championed. As a result, they effectively changed the judicial, legislative, and executive powers forever. With the financial ruin, a contrived illegal war, amnesty for illegal aliens, and wide-open borders, the 8-year agenda becomes glaringly clear. The American people do not matter. Barack Hussein Obama ran on the platform of change. Like every politician the two-party system and mainstream media offer us, his campaign promises immediately disappeared once elected. Despite his fictional campaign rhetoric, his immediate actions paint the picture of what to expect. He strongly condemned lobbyists and claimed his cabinet would not allow them. Today, his cabinet has more special interest lobbyists than any cabinet in history. He made assertions of repealing Bush laws that infringed on American rights. He hasn't repealed one. In fact, he's using the same laws to his benefit and further strip firearm and free speech rights. The Obama administration bailout dwarfs what Bush initiated, with the illusion it helps you, but it is designed specifically for elitist entitlement. Obama ran on an anti-war platform, promising to pull the troops out of Iraq. He's done the opposite, increased troops and extending the war into Afghanistan and perhaps even Iran. Remember Ross Perot's famous quote, "You hear the sucking sound? That's your American jobs going overseas due to NAFTA and the government sellout of American jobs." Independent Ross Perot was right. Obama made promises during his campaign mantra that he would change foreign trade agreements. Today, he shows little interest in NAFTA or foreign trade policy. In a time of recession, depression, with massive debt, Barack Obama spent 3 times more money than any president in U.S. history for his inauguration. Scholars and historians liken Obama youth to Hitler youth, complete with combat training for domestic safety. He made assertions Bush would be held accountable for his actions in Iraq and 9/11. Today, he won't touch it. They're on the same globalist team, and he continues where Bush left off with the North American Union plan to combine the United States, Canada, and Mexico, thereby eliminating our borders and our sovereignty, essentially declaring our Declaration of Independence void. Our ranking two-party politicians can no longer be trusted because they are not making decisions in our interest. World bankers, corporations, and elitists with agendas have infringed on our government. These two-party politicians are puppets. They serve the elite in only one goal, globalism. They're not loyal to country or people. Likewise, our mainstream media only serves to reinforce that agenda and manipulate the minds of the people. Fox News, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, corporate news appears to take their marching orders from Washington and other elitists. They are equivalent to Nazi propaganda in the 1930s. Diversion, deception, misleading, and boycotting real news is the name of their game. It's not a coincidence. These news organizations spend hours distracting you with Hollywood idiocracy, American Idol, sports, Dancing with the Stars, everything ridiculous, while at the same time major legislation is ramrodded through Congress, ignoring we the people, destroying our futures. Yet this legislation goes on and is seldom heard about. Media, therefore, serves to divert attention away from real issues, smoke and mirrors. Everyone from legislators to judges to presidents is manipulated and lopsided in the Democratic and Republican royalty. The media gives the illusion you have a choice while simultaneously stifling and ridiculing third-party candidates and alternative media. It's time for independence once again. We need independent candidates, media, independence from corporate greed and lobbyists. Independence from freedom-stripping legislators is the last hope that exists for a country founded on freedom. The independent thinkers of America have long suffered ridicule and labels such as conspiracy theorists. 300 million people corralled into two parties is insanity. It's time the American citizen is heard. It's time for American independence again. People, turn off the television and think for yourself and stand up.
That's excellent information. And right along those lines, I know we're coming up on a break shortly, Congress just gave itself nearly $4 billion in expenses. You're talking about legislation ramrodded through that the corporate media doesn't cover. How would you like a job with a six-figure salary and the ability to vote yourself? An additional healthy chunk of taxpayer money to be used for expenses. Then become a member of the congressional royalty and you can do just that. Wallow in pork of nearly $4 billion to be used for expenses. This is being reported June 29, 2009. $3.7 billion divided by 535 members of Congress works out to a sweet $6.9 million for each one of our congressional princes to spend on expenses. And this was just done, seen no reporting. Amendments were offered up to cut the massive pork project, were shot down quickly. How dare anyone try to make Congress face reality? And here, this is while the rest of the United States, the citizens, are being thrown out of work. What was it, 467,000 in the month of June?
Yes, yes.
And Washington obviously doesn't get it, and I think House Speaker Pelosi got up to over $5 million for her expenses. She got an additional $1,100,000. So we're going to be coming up next segment. We're going to be playing a clip of Adam Kokesh. We had him on a while back as a guest. He made an excellent speech, and we're going to play it in its entirety next segment after the next break. So on this July 4th, let's remember what happened 233 years ago. Let's remember our past. And let's think about our future and what we need to do to get involved to make some real changes for the better, because what we're seeing coming out of Washington is the worst in my entire lifetime. We'll be back in 3 minutes on The Real News with Farron and Brian. We are back on The Real News Radio, Saturday, July 4th, and we are going to play Brian's Pick of the Week. We're discussing different speeches to play, so go ahead, Brian, lead us into it.
This is one of my favorite speeches. This is by Adam Kokesh. He was a Marine in Iraq. He came back here and he became a spokesman for Iraq veterans against the war. You